12 Americans step onto an alien planet, 2 never come back, 2 choose not to, and the other 8 supposedly lived out their lives under a veil of silence somewhere back on Earth. They say it started after Roswell, they say it ended in 1978, and they say it all happened on a planet called Serpo. This might be the most ambitious alien exchange program ever imagined, or the most elaborate hoax in UFO lore. Let's unpack the mystery of Project Serpo, along with our guest, Jason Rhodes from Hallucination Hippies on TikTok. Does he believe? We're gonna find out. Let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of Mostly True Alien Stories.
UFO sightings. Many Americans have wondered about the dangers of unknown objects.
Scientists in Mexico pulling back the curtain. We need to save ourselves.
Welcome back to Mostly True Alien Stories, where we dissect one true reported alien encounter. We try to make sense of what's real, what's rumored, and what might just be disinformation with great production value. I'm Neil Girandola. I'm a longtime believer in all things alien, along with my co-host, Andrew Triana, here to politely side-eye every story I tell. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Neil. Good morning.
How are you? I'm good, buddy. I'm excited because today's true report isn't just about a sighting. It's a full-blown galactic exchange program. 12 American military volunteers allegedly transported to a planet in the Zeta Reticuli system to live among an alien race called the Ebens. It's got spacecrafts, we got antimatter, love stories, there's some loss in here, and a 3,000-page debrief we've actually never seen. And to help us break it all down, we're joined by someone whose research dives deep into the intersections of UFOs, consciousness, government secrecy, and the bizarre truths hiding in plain sight. He's the voice and face behind the Hallucination Hippies TikTok channel, blending curiosity, skepticism, and sharp analysis for a growing community of all of these UFO truth seekers out there. He's launching his own long-form podcast very soon, too. But today, he's bringing his insights to us. So welcome to Mostly True Alien Stories, Mr. Jason Rhodes. What's up, brother?
What's up, guys? Hey, Neil. Hey, Andrew. Great to be here.
Hey, welcome.
So happy to have you here, man. I just love everything you do on your TikTok channel, and I've been dropping in on your YouTube channel too, waiting for some episodes to start going. I can't wait, man. And I'll tell you. First off, though, before we get into all of that, I have to ask you, what's your take on extraterrestrial life on other planets? I mean, I think I know what you're going to say, but do you believe, and what's your take on it?
I do believe. I think, I know, shocker. I know. When you can hold your thumb up to the night sky and cover, I think it's 5 billion galaxies or something like that. There's no way that there's not something else out there. So I do believe, yes.
It's interesting because, we get that response a lot, but I think too, your approach to talking about aliens and encounters and things like that, you do what we try to do as well. We try to take it from a normal perspective.
Yeah, I personally have never been abducted.
What?
I have. Yeah, I know, believe it or not.
It's supposed to be a prerequisite for the show.
Well,
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was great talking to you guys. I got to go.
Yeah.
So I wish, but I think maybe not. But no, there have been a couple of instances where I have seen something that was very strange, where I couldn't quite understand what it was.
Yeah.
Was that something anomalous, non-human intelligence wise? I don't know. But what really turned me on in the beginning was my father had an experience in his 20s, and that's what really turned me on as a teenager when he told me
Where
about that.
where was that? Where did it happen? Where's he from?
This was in the South. This was in Louisiana, I believe. Is where it had happened, and he was the cliche story, but he was with a few people in a van going down the road at night and saw these orbs, 2 of them that made their way over the road ahead of them and kind of hovered for a little bit, and they're approaching. They stop and trying to figure out what's going on with what they're seeing, and of course they kind of zip over. And he had said that there's kind kind of a forest area, and they kind of zipped over the forest area and then just and we're gone. And he was sure of what they saw, and as soon as he told me about that experience, it hooked me. So that was years ago, but that's what got me.
What's the story behind Hallucination Hippies? Like, how did you begin that? When did you start that TikTok channel? I mean, you have I think almost 200,000 followers on there now, close, and people love that conversation. Again, I'll say it again. I love the way you present your encounters, your stories, the things that you tell us. It's very freaking cool, and I get why you have so many followers. But what's the story behind that? Why Hallucination Hippies? What's the name? Is that yeah? Tell me about that.
It's kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. I originally started the channel. It was not quite 2 years ago, I guess, but just to post, just to kind of post and have fun with it. And there was never, I never had a plan to kind of come on and start talking about or anything. It was just kind of sharing and posting things that were kind of cool and interesting in the subject. As far as the name goes, it's like I said, it's kind of a cheeky thing, but reality isn't quite what we think it is, and that's just personal opinion. There is a lot to still learn, of course, but we're all just hippies in this hallucination of reality.
What was the moment you realized that, oh my God, there's an audience out here that is hungry to hear my perspective?
I had started posting and just kind of sharing stuff and reposting things in the very beginning, and I felt like when I started talking, I kind of started doing these stories instead of just sharing or posting an orb video or something that comes along. I started kind of talking through some of the stories, much like you guys do, and it's really interesting stuff, because there are so many stories and so many, whether it's an abduction, whether it's just there's so many things out there that are floating around, and granted, the topic has definitely become a little more mainstream now. Right. There are still the percentage of people that actually really know or have heard even a fraction of these stories or what's out there or anything about it is so small. So I realized that there are so many people that don't know anything. Even the Roswell story, you think everyone's heard that ad nauseum, but there are people that have never heard of it. Well, tell me about it. What is it? So it was that point.
What's your take? Do you think we're being fed a narrative? Because this is the longest running story, is the alien stuff. It's the longest running story, I think, in history. And for me, I don't know now in today's government whether disclosure is disclosure for disclosure purposes.
Disclosure, I think that the idea that we're going to be presented with this, presentation by the government that gives us all the answers that we're looking for, and that whole idea, I think, is definitely not going to happen. I think that there's a lot of garbage that's purposely put into the mix, but there is some truth in there. There's enough over the years, just the amount of time and the amount of data that's been compiled and the amount of credible witnesses and cases and testimonies, interviews, whistleblowers, all this stuff. There's something to it. But I think the way that the government would prefer it is to have a lot of trash with some of the truth, and that's how the disinformation kind of works best when you mix the two together.
What is the reason for them to say, let's just create this whole aura around this whole conversation? What is the purpose?
Yeah, man, the $1 million question. I think that that's multifaceted because, as years go by and people who have been interested in this topic can contest that, as new information comes in, opinions can change.
Yes.
And I think that that's part of this whole process, is being open to all that. I'm at heart, I'm a open-minded skeptic. So that's kind of how I approach things. And so I'm open-minded when things roll in, or information comes out, or new proof, or whatever you want to call it.
I think that's
over
a
the
better.
years,
I think that's a better position to be in, the open-minded skeptic. I am not an open-minded skeptic. I'm open-minded. I'm hoping. I'm so hopeful that all of this is true. And sometimes that's bad, but that's why I have Andrew, because Andrew doesn't believe in anything. Nothing. Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy,
I
aliens.
believe
It's all in
Santa
the same
Claus.
category.
Come on.
Wait, what?
Santa Claus, yes, for sure. 100% Santa Claus is real. Tooth Fairy, no way. No way.
It just can't be.
Just can't be.
Yeah. So I think that, there's different reasons for disclosure being withheld, at least from the government perspective. I do think that there is a power and control element to it. I do think that there is a technology element to it for sure, especially when you've got these private, companies involved as well.
To that point, like Lockheed Martin, right? So now all of a sudden, all the talk is that the Tic Tac, the big deal that we went through, whatever, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that is now, it's our technology made by Lockheed. If that is the truth, I think it's careless to do that to the American people or to the world itself, to create technology like that and then make us believe that it's something else. I don't know why that would be the case.
Yeah. Part of my thoughts behind that at a certain point was that we may possess technology that we don't yet understand. And what I would imagine, being in a government position, if I were, when you've got foreign adversaries that would love to have certain technologies as well, if you do have it, but you don't understand it, you might not want them to know that. So you might want to keep that kind of, a mystery, so to speak. But if they've cracked certain aspects of it, like let's say the Tic Tac propulsion aspect, which I do think that we have cracked definitely certain things. I mean, when you have people like Townsend Brown and all these guys from back in the day who, have worked out all these anti-gravitic propulsion solutions, and allegedly, of course, I think we're way beyond in that sense than what we know. But maybe they have cracked certain aspects, and I do think that there are many, probably the majority of things that people see probably aren't actually NHI. They probably are being tested, or they are, some sort of technology that we've cracked.
Do you think that, though, that propulsion system, or Tic Tac, the way that Tic Tac moves, or the category of this technology, do you think that is reverse engineered from alien tech?
That's a tough one. When we're talking about,
I say this only because Jason, only because why keep? I understand you're saying that we keep it a secret, or we keep it, a shroud behind a shroud, because we don't want foreign adversaries to be aware of it. Let's eliminate that for a minute. Would they keep it a secret because maybe it is alien tech that they've reverse engineered? What if that? I mean, now we're getting a little woo woo, but I don't know.
I agree with you. I think that there is an element to, again, it's you never want to show all your cards, right? In whatever aspect it is, especially when you're, it's geopolitically driven and everything. So I think that there's, again, a lot of factors to it, but I do think that would be one. I completely agree with you, because, if you do have that and you're able to understand it in certain aspects, they probably don't want anyone else knowing that they do have it. So
there's definitely a shift going on, I think, in our energy and our timelines, if you will. I mean, this gets a little weird, but you talk about that as well. You've mentioned things like that. The sense of the collective awareness and all of that going on. What does it feel like to you? Are we in the middle of something big? Is it the conversation is just shifting, or are we actually going through something personally?
I think that people are a lot more, I mean, awake, I guess is, that kind of the word that gets
Mhm.
thrown around a lot.
Mhm.
But I do think that people are becoming more and more awake in different ways. And I think that, the more that we understand physics, even though there hasn't, been any of these major breakthroughs, there are breakthroughs that have been happening as far as things like, entanglement and all these really kind of woo-woo at one point concepts. And as we're understanding these more and more, or think we're understanding it, I think that has awoken a lot of people to different things that perhaps they weren't really thinking about at a certain point. You got a lot of people talking about the Schumann resonance, the kind of the heartbeat of the
Popping
earth.
up all over. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff that was hippie at one point in time. Isn't, it's not that, the Woodstock hippie kind of thing anymore. I mean, it's a new age, mindset. So I think a lot of people have kind of adopted that in different ways. Right. And so when we're mixing all that together and with this whole topic that's really a lot more prevalent in the conversation, I think that there is a shift. Is it some sort of fifth dimension shift that a lot of people talk
Is
about,
it alien
or
related?
extension,
Yeah.
or anything?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know about that,
Yeah.
but I do think that there is some sort of a shift happening in a certain way, perhaps just as an evolutionary step, as far as our species goes or something. But with this phenomenon, as we're learning more or trying to learn more, I think that there's a lot of things that are kind of connected in ways that perhaps we didn't think were connected, and that gets into the interdimensional aspect of the whole thing. And maybe it's not just a spaceship from Zeta Reticuli, it might be a lot deeper than that. So I think that is kind of waking up.
The Anunnaki are returning, by the way.
Is it today?
Yeah,
oh, man,
they're coming soon, right? No, what's the story? 2027? Is they're coming to save us? What is? Can you lay into that for me a little bit?
Maybe we should try calling Bashar.
Bashar.
Yeah.
Let's get Bashar. He'll tell us.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk of the Anunnaki stuff. I don't buy it. No, I personally don't think that the Anunnaki are showing up in a mothership in a couple of years to save humanity. I personally don't think so.
Actually, July 16th, they're going to be here. I just got the text from them.
Oh, perfect.
Oh yeah, he's on a text chain with them. So
oh, good.
Yeah,
do they use iMessage?
Actually, it comes through my watch. It doesn't go to my phone, only to my watch. So
they must be into wearables. Yeah.
Super tech, super high tech.
They love wearables.
They do. Yeah.
The whole story about the Anunnaki. So the Anunnaki, and you know more about this than I do, but the Anunnaki made us, apparently, right, to be slaves to mine gold, and the gold was used for what was gold used for?
I don't know what they used it for. I mean, allegedly it was something that they didn't have, and it was highly valuable and usable, as far as a resource.
I'm with you on this. Again, I love the whole idea of it. I love the whole idea of it. I mean, I can't
absolutely.
I hope there is a day that the three of us are able to meet an alien and really just get the download on that. I got to ask you, what is your favorite news story of today now that you are diving into that you think has some validity? Can't say the boogosphere because that's you can't do that one. So you gotta what is a story that you're looking into now that you think is pretty cool?
Well,
take your time.
But we only have until July 16th, so we do.
That's right. We gotta hurry. We got 6 days.
Actually, they just sent a text. They said, "Please hurry and give your answer."
Yeah.
So weird. They're listening.
Andrew, if you only have 6 days, dude, you better go lose your virginity quick. You better hurry up.
I got to move out of mom's basement first. I'm going to find a nice woman. That's what I'm doing.
As long as mommy approves.
Yeah. Why didn't I do this earlier?
I should have done it 3 days sooner.
What story do you have, Jason? You got one you're working on, or you're looking into, or that you've done that you really love?
Yeah, well, I've been digging in. I don't want to give it away too much. Not that it's any big, major breaking, moment. But for my first podcast, that's actually what I've been doing, is kind of sifting through and going, oh, that might be cool. That might be cool.
Yeah.
And I'm working on something that kind of links together some of the key moments in the topic. Some of the stories that seem to carry a little more weight than others, and kind of linking things together. But one of those being the aerial the moment of when the school children in Zimbabwe, the aerial school had their encounter, and that one's I've looped back to, because that one just is really fascinating.
We did an episode on that on our pod. You should go back. It's one of our earlier ones, but we talked about that and got into it, and it is one of our favorite topics, because it was such a massive sighting with kids, teachers there to make it more credible. The investigations that went on, we really like that one a lot. Can't wait to see what your take is on that story. That's going to be really cool. When are you going to launch? When are you launching the podcast? When are you going to start?
Well,
because the people are going to be, I'm telling you, you're going to like that. They're going to love you.
They're beating down the door, I'm sure, but
it's going to happen.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. No, and in fact, what really kind of ended up pushing me further was I have gotten, messages just on the TikTok channel just of people asking about that, more long form, more kind of deep dive stuff. And so I finally, was kicking the idea around, but I like, I don't know if it's so saturated. Everybody's got, the whole thing you kind of work up in your mind if it's worth it or not.
You have to keep in mind the way you speak about it, right? And that's what we always say. Well, we have a different technique, right? We dissect an encounter. We talk about an encounter, and we determine whether it's mostly true or not.
Yeah, it's great.
But from a normal perspective, that's the key. There's not many people out there talking about this, having this conversation from a normal perspective. I honestly can't wait for you to get your podcast. I say the same thing whenever I watch your videos. I'm like, that's so good. So good. It's good stuff.
Oh, thank you.
I got one question. I got a question. Neil, take your headphones off. I just have a private question. If you're looking for a co-host for your podcast, right here.
Well, you were fired anyway after this episode, so
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Before we get into the featured story, I can't wait to get into this story, Project Serpo, and I'm sure you can't either. And I can't wait to see your perspective on this. But first, we're going to do a quick segment with you because I love this. It's called Mostly True or Not, right? So I'm going to ask you a series of rapid fire questions, not many, just 3, and you have to tell us whether you think the subject at hand is mostly true or not. All right. This will get us warmed up going into the Project Serpo thing. So here we go. Is the Boogosphere real alien tech or not? Mostly true or not?
Andrew?
Not.
I don't agree.
You agree? Why?
Again, just personal opinion from an outsider view who hasn't laid hands on it or gotten access to the real data. So if they're holding on to some stuff that's really compelling, I hope it's real. I mean, that would be really incredible. But just what I've seen, there's a gut feeling to me that just doesn't sit right. I've done a video kind of stating my opinion, and it's there's a lot of people that didn't like that opinion.
It's almost like blasphemy when you disagree about an alien topic. It's really funny in that whole world. We just recorded a very deep dive into the Boogosphere. All the connections, the money trail, the people, the reasons why, and all of this stuff. But I can't wait for that to go out because that's going to be very cool. What we were showing, the connections and all of this stuff. It's pretty interesting. I don't want to reveal anything that we've come out with, but it's going to be very cool. So I can't wait. All right, next. I don't know if you can answer it mostly true or not, but you're going to have to pick one here on this one. Of the whistleblowers, not just government people, but let's say, let's list these guys: Jeremy Corbell, David Grush, Luis Elizondo, and Dr. Stephen Greer. Of those guys, who's most credible?
I would vote Grush.
I'd lean the same way. He hasn't done anything yet or said anything or shown anything yet or been involved with anything yet that has made me go,
He didn't show selfies with himself with the aliens? This is blobby. Look, this is blobby.
You hate Greer.
Greer is polarizing. Yeah. It's either people are Team Greer or not.
My main problem with Greer is he keeps telling us stuff is coming, and then nothing comes.
Knowing the history of him and the background and really linking together all of the stories he's been involved in, and then finding out how he funds all of this is very interesting. So he's become a brand in a sense, and I think the pressure of continuing to stay in the conversation is as important. So they start off with that whole idea of, I'm doing something good here. We're going to reveal that the government's been hiding secrets. But if I'm not getting enough bite, then all of a sudden, then you become, you're lifted up into the popularity of this conversation. And then if you don't have enough material coming out, then the pressure gets on you. Then you got to start doing these things. And that's what I think is happening with a lot of these guys. Luis Elizondo, Greer, they're just, what else do we have? Let's get on Reddit. Let's see what we can find. It's those kinds of things.
I don't know. Where's the movie? Age of Disclosure. Where is it? Why haven't we seen it yet? Why has it been put in the theaters? Well, it's all bullshit, man.
You are not wrong. All right, let me get this last one in. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right. CERN is detecting beings coming in and out of portals trying to change time. Mostly true alien story or not.
I think that they have probably detected something that they weren't expecting to happen or detect. That one's, oh boy, that's a hard one to answer. Because to part of it, I agree with, yes. To the whole degree of, them trying to come through portals and all these things, I don't know. But I do think that there are probably some discoveries that they weren't expecting because, there's so much that we don't understand yet with parallel dimensions and alternate realities and entanglement and all these things that are, tied together that we don't quite fully understand. And when you manipulate, energy and frequencies to certain degrees, things happen. So, I think that they probably, something did happen. To what degree? Don't know.
Yeah, I think CERN is definitely onto something that we'll never know about, or we will by accident at some point.
Just had one comment. Did no one watch Stranger Things? And the problem with opening portals? I mean, seriously, I feel like I'm living on the craziest planet ever. No one has seen Terminator, so AI is perfect. No one saw Stranger Things, so let's open portals.
Yeah, it just never seems to really work out, does it?
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Just leave it alone. If you're listening, please just leave everything alone. Stop messing with it.
I don't think you're wrong. I think what's going to happen, we're all begging for these aliens to show up. I've talked about this before. Back in the day in the 70s, we were afraid of it. Today, we're all hopeful of it. And they're going to show up and they're going to be like, we're here. Now we're going to eat you. And this is it. All right. Now that we've cracked open some of the deeper truths and theories surrounding disclosure, timelines, and tech with our hallucination hippie, Jason Rhodes, I am so glad you're here, dude. It's time to shift gears and dive into today's featured story. If you're new here, here's how the show works. We will explore a real reported alien encounter or claim. We're going to break down what happened. Then Andrew, Jason, and I will weigh in. We're going to fill in some gaps. We're going to determine whether this is a mostly true alien story or not. So with that, Jason, Andrew, you guys ready to dive in?
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right, let's get into it. Today's story might just be one of the most elaborate and mind-bending tales in all of UFO conversations. It's a classified exchange program, a hidden alien world, and 12 brave souls who supposedly stepped onto a spacecraft in 1965 and didn't return for 13 years. This is the mystery of Project Serpo. The story of Project Serpo begins, as so many do, in the New Mexico desert. Roswell, 1947. A craft crashes. The U.S. military responds quickly, collecting wreckage, and according to the legend, retrieving several alien bodies. Most were reportedly dead on arrival, but one survived. He was kept alive in secret custody at Los Alamos, monitored around the clock. They called him EB1, short for Extraterrestrial Biological Entity 1. And over time, EB1 began to communicate and eventually to speak basic English because he couldn't speak English until then. He told them he came from a distant planet in the Zeta Reticuli star system, a place his species, the Ebens, called Serpo. Before he died in 1952, he reportedly left behind information coordinates, language basics, even instructions on how to reach his homeworld. That info sat buried in classified files until 1964. That's when the story really takes a turn. A secret meeting was arranged at Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico. According to reports, an alien craft actually landed there, and U.S. officials, including representatives from the Defense Intelligence Agency and the National Reconnaissance Office, met with beings from Serpo. What followed was a historic agreement, an interplanetary exchange program. 12 American military volunteers, 10 men and 2 women, were selected. They underwent intense training, supposedly through channels within the Pentagon and top secret intelligence sectors. And in July 1965, they boarded an alien spacecraft powered by antimatter propulsion, and they left Earth behind. And 10 months later, they arrived on Serpo. It's a world that is orbiting a binary star system that's only 39 light years away. Their mission was supposed to last 10 years. They ended up staying 13. And what they found there, according to this report, was unlike anything they had prepared for. It was a harsh climate, 107 degrees Fahrenheit on average, a strange and deeply structured even society, a gravity nearly double Earth's, and rising exposure to radiation, which allegedly caused health issues for some. Now, 2 died within the first few years. 2 others reportedly chose to stay behind, having grown attached to the life and beings of Serpo. And 8 returned to Earth in 1978. They were quarantined until 1984, then debriefed over thousands of hours into what became a 3,000-page classified report. And then they disappeared into quiet obscurity. Officially, they died by the early 2000s, everybody that was involved. The public first heard whispers of Project Serpo in 2005, when a series of anonymous emails began circulating through ufology forums. They were traced back to a retired government insider known only as Anonymous. And then soon the story was being championed by Richard Doty. He's a former special agent with the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, a FOSI, a man already infamous for his role in alleged disinformation campaigns. Despite widespread coverage in UFO circles, mainstream outlets said they found no verifiable proof that this ever happened. Investigators at the Rational Wiki and other skeptical forums have since dismissed Serpo as an elaborate hoax, but it's still talked about. So this could be something that is even a psychological operation and meant to mislead truth seekers. That has been the talk. That is our report. That is our story. I'm now going to hand it over to you two, Jason, Andrew. You guys can weigh in, fill in some gaps for me, and then let's dive into whether we think this is a mostly true alien story or not. What did I miss? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, you missed a lot. You missed a lot.
All right.
The guy who was the head of this project, or that was the leader of the team, was a gentleman by the name of Colonel McKeever. McKeever was a former, well, he's dead now, so we can say former Air Force officer. He had no family. He had no friends, apparently.
It's like you. It's like you, no friends.
Oh, the Anunnaki are not pleased with your comments about me. Just letting you know. All right, so they told McKeever that he was going to have a delicious dish called sheep dipped, which means when they take you and they get rid of everything, all your records, IRS, your social security number, everything.
So they sheep dip McKeever. They
and
sheep
everybody else
so
who's part of this project, right? They're gonna just like you never existed. He was told that this was a top secret mission. Only 60 people knew what was happening, and if he told anybody, he would be tried for treason.
Do you know who he's talking to? McKeever? You know who he's dealing with?
No, none of that's ever disclosed. He said the first thing that they did was they put him in a room where he watched a black and white film that said First Contact, 1947. So the first alien crash was actually not in Roswell. It was actually in Corona, New Mexico. The first crash, all the aliens died. Everybody died. All 6, because apparently it takes 6 of these aliens to run their ship. Or that's
so wait a minute. What did they have to do with EB1 though? If they all died,
because EB1 did not come until 1949, 2 years later. EB1
and they crashed. And
they crashed. 5 of their people died. 5 of the Ebens, which is funny because all this conversation with Evie, he never said that we're Ebens. That's just the name we gave them. They never. I guess they never asked him. So what do you call yourselves? So that's funny. Okay.
Well, they defined the Ebens as small, brown-skinned humanoids, and
about 4 feet tall. Yeah, about 4 feet tall.
About 4 feet tall. So.
Yeah. So then the second part of the film that they watched was 1949, 2 years later.
Mm-hmm. That was Rocky 2.
It was actually Rocky 6. They had already Sylvester Stallone had already written the 6th Rocky.
Sylvester Stallone's an alien.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this was from another crash, and that's where he meets Evie. He sees EB1 for the first time, right? So they took him to Los Alamos, and he died in 1952. Very sad for Evie. But he couldn't speak. He spoke through tones and hand gestures.
And then he learns English.
And then he learned to speak broken English.
Because we didn't want to learn his language.
No, because we can't go, ooh, 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 ooh.
Right. Right.
Right? That's too much for us to do. So from the crash, from his ship, he said that there's a communication device on that ship that he wants to get so that he can communicate with his people.
His planet. Okay.
Right. With Serpo. We'll call it Serpo.
That's some great technology right there.
It is.
I'm
it's
thinking
like
that's pretty advanced.
Solid.
No.
Advanced Anunnaki. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. So he said that they asked him, so why did you crash? And he said that it was apparently our radar. Our radar disrupted their ships, and that's what caused them to crash. Now, let's think about that. Really? These high-tech guys that are traveling through wormholes to get here, and our radar throws them off? It's something they never
Wait, are you weighing in? Are you weighing in already?
I'm just saying, I think Evie's not telling the whole truth. That's what I think. That's what I think.
Traveled all this way to lie to us.
They shot him down, is what I think.
Evie didn't want to admit he's a bad driver.
Right. He was drinking and doing drugs, crash, right? Okay, so they got the device, right, and they fixed it. Evie was able to repair it. And he said that that's when he tells him for the first time that his planet Serpo is in the Zeta Reticuli system, right? Which we know is like 39 to 40 light years away, and that they used wormholes to travel back and forth between Serpo and the U.S. And they've been coming here for like 2,000 years, he said. They've been traveling to the planet for over 2,000 years. He said also that they communicate through their wormholes, but he was unable to communicate with his people.
I want some compelling information. Let's go get to the compelling information so I can decide.
Right, here's a secret, right? They called it Project Serpo, but that wasn't the real name. The actual name was called Project Crystal Knight. Compelling. Yeah. All right. So through the communications, right, they decided that they were going to create this program. So Serpos wanted their guys back. They wanted their bodies back.
Serpo planet wanted the aliens back. They wanted the dead
their
aliens
people so they can bury them or
so
do
they're going to come up with this exchange program where they're going to bring the dead bodies to Serpo.
Yeah.
But we're going to bring our 12 volunteers up to their planet too.
And they had to go through extensive training for a year.
I would imagine they'd have to go through training.
This training is terrible. Okay. Each guy was put in a 7-foot by 5-foot box and buried 7 feet in the ground.
Why? How does that simulate travel to Serpo?
Wait, I got to tell you why. And they were just given food and water, okay, and an air hole. Because on the space travel, it's going to be seclusion and isolation. They were probably going to be put into separate rooms for themselves. So they decided that in order for you to understand that isolation, we got to bury you in a box in the ground for 5 days.
Why? I mean, you didn't have to bury them. Just put them in a small room or a box.
No, it's better to bury them.
Why bury them?
Yeah, put them in a room with their shit and piss smell and Kentucky Fried Chicken wings.
That's brilliant leadership right there.
Yeah. reporting for duty, sir.
I'm surprised no one died during that.
The Ebens returned, and they landed at Halleman's Air Force Base in New Mexico in 1964. Right. They took their friends.
They took all the deceased aliens.
All the dead guys, yeah. They shook hands, and they said, all right, we're going to make this great intergalactic program. And they left one Eben back here with us to teach us technology And they even said they would never reveal their technology, all their technology to us because we couldn't handle it.
I don't think the aliens had it all figured out. I just don't. I mean, just share it.
They get the ship here and they decide that all 12 guys are going to go on board and we're going to take equipment, right? We're going to take guns and grenades and 10 motorcycles and 2 Jeeps. And
sure, they got to get around.
Right. Because Evans apparently
love Harleys.
We will do this deal with you for 10 Harley Davidsons and 2 Jeeps. Done. Shake hands, and then the 3 hands.
But they were taking weapons as well.
Yeah. We took weapons.
I don't know why.
Weapons.
I guess
that is surprising.
12 guys against a planet full of Evans. That makes a lot of sense.
I got it. Yeah. So off they go.
But as soon as they got on the ship and they started flying, the humans got sick.
All of them.
Everybody. It
was just because wormhole travel.
Yeah, McKeever said that every time they went through the wormhole, he would black out, and then when he would come to, he'd be nauseous.
Wait, McKeever went? I thought McKeever just headed up the group.
No,
he went as well.
He was on the guy. He's the 12th guy.
Okay.
Yeah. So they had, just to let you know, they had pilots, they had linguistics guys, they had McKeever, and then they had like security guys, which I'm going to guess is like special forces or something that they took.
They may have had a doctor as well.
Yeah, they had a couple doctors too. Yeah. They had a couple doctors. Yep. As they're flying, they get sick, right? But the Evans give them this white drink and a cookie. And when they ate and drank it, they weren't nauseous anymore.
What was the white drink? Did they say what it tasted like?
White Russian.
Just serving White Russians and riding Harleys. These Evans.
So here's something that I found interesting with some of the documents that were leaked. None of the people except for McKeever had a name in the teams. So in the team, they all
I
were
would imagine they would keep that secret.
Numbers. While they're flying, they're getting close, and McKeever says, "Hey, let's gather everybody together." And they gather everybody together, and one guy is missing. And it is 308.
Wait, they gathered them together on the ship?
Yeah, on the ship. And 308's nowhere to be found. So they're like, where's 308? And they're like, 308 is dead. So 899 says, they killed him. Let's get our guns.
Why would they think he got killed?
Because they had to wait 10 months to do it. It just doesn't make any freaking sense to me. This is where I'm like, the story was good so far.
You can't weigh in yet.
I'm not weighing in yet. Okay.
Give me the facts. Give me some more compelling stuff.
754 was a doctor. So they allowed them to examine 308. And he said, he had an embolism. He died of an embolism. And they were being calmed. Everybody was calmed down by EB2. EB2 was apparently a female Even. I heard she was hot. She wore dressed differently. She wore like lingerie.
EB2 got around.
She was trimp.
Once you go EB2,
it's all over.
It's all over.
They arrive on Serpo. They get settled in, and everybody's feeling.
Wait, 39 light years away is what?
Farther than I can count.
Far. But it took them how long to get there?
10 months.
That's still long. 10 months travel in space through wormholes.
So McKeever asks, can we get 308's body to bury it? We want to bury it here on Serpo. That's the least that we can do, right? And they said, no, you can't have his body.
But they were going to bury him on Serpo?
Yeah, they were just going to bury him. What, are they going to keep him there for 12 years? He'd be like...
I would have ejected him into space, maybe.
Yeah, I would have given him like a Vikings funeral, but they didn't.
But the Ebens wouldn't give them the
No, they said he's at the medical facility and they're doing experiments on him. So now, 899, he's all fired up again. He wants to go to war with the Ebens. So there was a doctor even that said, come with me. I'm going to take you to where we're using him. We're going to do medical experiments and we're going to clone him.
Wait, so this doctor's inviting them over to see what they're going to, and they're going to clone him. They're going to clone him. That's why they wanted to keep him. They're going to clone 308. Yeah, that's why. So they drained his body. They drained his body of all his blood and took out all his organs. And they stressed that it's a great honor. In Eben culture, it's a great honor to have your body donated to science. McKeever describes when he gets to the medical facility, there's large tubes in this one facility, large tubes. And in the tubes are strange looking bodies like glass tubes.
I imagine that they're glass because they're see-through, right? So the first tube he describes as a guy looking like a porcupine.
So he had a collection of creatures. They had a collection of creatures in there
that they made. These were all biologically engineered by the Ebens. The second body, the second tube, had a body in there that had red skin with black eyes. It had no arms and no legs.
They called him Bob.
He describes the smell as like really pungent and like almost burning to his nose.
See, it's
Okay.
these kinds of details that are very interesting to me. You know, that they're just hearing this, and then you know they got these creatures and the smell and all of this stuff. It's very interesting to me. That makes it where this story goes. Well, okay, I mean, you can't make this up. I mean, you can, but it's pretty
Right.
detailed. Do they say anything about why they were cloning? Or was
It's
there
a great
reason
honor
for this?
to be part of the science project.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not why you clone. It's not for great honor. It's for something else.
So then Dr. Eben takes them to what they call the growing room. And in the growing room, there were creatures, but he said they looked drunk. They were like, they were on medication. They were like just hibernating. 2 of them had dog heads. They were humans with dog heads. And then the other one looked like an Eben, right? But it looked kind of like 308. But it looked more Eben-like than 308 looked.
You know, I'm sorry, but getting buried in the ground in a box that was 7 feet by 5 feet, it does not prepare me for this. And I don't care how brave you are going through wormholes to get there and traveling with aliens to another planet. That's pretty brave. But then once I get off and I see all of this, I'm just like, where's the next bus back to planet Earth?
Now, here's some fun Eben facts. Ebens are vegetarians.
Do you have anything else to add to this story that would make us decide either way whether this is mostly true or not? Because I'd like to hand it off to Jason and get his take on all this.
I got you right here. 2005. We're going to fast forward to 2005, right? When it started being leaked by Request Anonymous, where the emails that were being given to all of the UFO folks, letting them know that Serpo had happened, right? Well, they linked that back to our buddy Richard Doty. Who we talked about spreading a UFO disinformation, right? But it turns out that Doty said that even the disinformation, even though it was portrayed as lies, it was actual truth. Through getting in touch with Richard Doty and finding out that he was the guy leaking everything, it exposed the team of 5 that they call the team of 5, which is Richard Doty, Victor Martinez, Christopher Green, Harold Pontoff, and Bill Ryan. And all of these guys happened to work for the CIA or military intelligence sometime in their career. And there was a British intelligence guy by the name of Chapman that came out later. And Chapman said that the original story of Serpo was actually created by Alice Beerley Sheldon, who had a pen name of James Tiptree Jr., and she worked for the military. She had actually was one of the highest officers that women could get to, the highest rank. She was a major in the military, and she later worked for the CIA. And the whole reasoning why supposedly she wrote Project Serpo was to scare the Russians.
So they're saying she made it up just to scare the Russians.
Yeah, to make the Russians think that, oh my God, they have alien tech. And, don't mess with them because they're in cahoots with the aliens, because the Russians were spreading propaganda and rumor that they had Soviet agents in the U.S. that could set off nuclear weapons here if they wanted to.
And so they thought it was another brilliant plan after burying these people in the ground to get them ready for wormhole travel, that they're going to come up. They're going to come up with this alien idea.
Yeah,
that'll scare the Russians.
Yeah. And what happened was the story of Serpo was leaked apparently early on, and at first it freaked the Russians out. They were like, "Oh, they have alien technology. We must not mess with them." And then they started changing the story to where it's like, "They are vegetarians." Ha ha ha. So, just saying.
You have 30 more seconds.
30 seconds. Zeta Reticuli, right? Do you remember that? Betty and Barney Hill.
For our listeners, the Betty and Barney Hill was one of the first reported alien abductions
ever. Yeah,
and she drew a star map that the aliens had shown her, and it included Zeta Reticuli.
Right. There was a photograph that was leaked. The photograph showed the 2 suns, right? But it would be impossible to do that because Zeta Reticuli is a wide binary star system, right? So the stars are actually light years apart. So the chances of them being seen at the same time in the sky, none.
All right. I see where you're leaning. I see where you're going. I like all these details. It's pretty interesting. Jason, I'm going to hand it off to you. Is there anything that Andrew missed and fill it in? And if not, let's hear your take on this story and whether you think this is a mostly true alien story or not.
It is quite a story. There is a lot to it and a lot to dissect, but I don't know anything that might have been missed that would be worth adding. I think it's, yeah, you guys covered it fantastically. But this is one of those things where there's enough to it to perk your ears. You go, well, maybe. Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But then there are aspects to it where you go,
right.
Okay.
Right.
You know, and so getting into my take on it, I have to say, you know, when the name Richard Doty comes up, that's an immediate kind of because as we all know, he's got quite a storied past in this whole phenomena. Right. And
was he brought into this story to bring in disinformation, to distract from the truth of this story?
Right. And that's where you have to, and especially with this topic even today, you have to consider both possibilities, because there is, and I think that there are very good, well-intended people today that might be fed stuff on purpose, you know, to purposely kind of dilute the pool of truth. With Doty, that's an interesting angle, saying, well, it's actually all true, but I'm saying it, you know, said it was lies because I wanted you to think it was lies, but it's actually the truth. It's quite a twist.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I mean, you know, there's a possibility. There is one thing that I did here, and if you guys know more about this please jump in. But I believe that there were some folks that were kind of scratching their head at it and traced down a few email addresses that Doty, I guess, allegedly created. But all of the email addresses, they were able to actually pinpoint the IP address, and it all kind of led back to Doty.
To one guy, yeah. But again, that could be part of the whole disinformation. I mean, they're going to find that.
But Doty went on to say that, you know, he knew that if he wanted to create a different IP, he could have. And I don't think he understood that email addresses carry an IP address. That's what I think. What's so crazy about this whole thing is that dude is now like accredited UFO person.
Yeah, as they say, you know, Hollywood has a short memory.
All right. So Jason, what else is there anything else you want to add? And do you think that this is a mostly true alien story or not? I struggle with a few aspects of it to really consider it mostly true. You know, I think that image of the two suns is a great, it's a small detail, but a very important one, because it just doesn't add up. You know, I think some of the details are very interesting, but some of them kind of don't make a lot of sense, like the training, that's seclusion in the buried boxes, and just things like that. You kind of go, well, all right. And you know, so and then the Doty aspect is tough. Yeah, I don't think our intelligence agency would say we got to bury them underground. I just don't think that's the thing. I mean, who knows? But I struggle with that, and I also struggle with some of the details of them, you know, being on Serpo and wanting to bury, you know, 308
such
or whoever
a big thing about burying
308. And wanting to, you know, get out the weapons and all these things. It's like, okay. So I'm going to lean towards mostly not true.
Okay. All right. So Jason says it's not a mostly true alien story. There was some struggle.
I want it to be true. I would love it.
I could see the turmoil. I could see your battle internally about this. All right. So you say it's not a mostly true alien story. Andrew, I'm going to hand it to you very quickly. What do you think? Do you think this is a mostly true alien story or not?
Two things. The reason why they had such short numbers like 308 is because 8675309 was already taken. And no, this is not a mostly true. This is a great science fiction story that was written by James Tiptree Jr. That's what this is. It's fantastic. I mean, the story is really just, to me, it's brilliant. I mean, who's going to describe porcupine people and red slugs with black eyes?
Got detail. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So come on.
Okay. All right. So Andrew, you say it's not a mostly true alien story. Jason says it's not a mostly true alien story. Let me weigh in now. It's my turn to come in on this. Here's what I think actually is true. I think the aliens did crash. I think we had EB1. I think that's true. I think this is parts of true stories related to alien encounters during that time frame. I do think there was probably a group of volunteers that had to do something related to the alien encounter. Very brave people. Did they travel to another planet? You know what? I'm going to say for the most part, that I think that this is a mostly true alien story for the most part. I believe that this is something that could possibly happen. I think there has been some liberties taken through this story through the years. I think there's been a lot of liberties, but I think at the heart of this story, I think it's very plausible that this possibly could be a mostly true alien story. And I believe our listeners will agree with me over you two more.
I don't think so, but
Yeah.
that's
So
okay.
here's what we've got. We've got no physical evidence, no known returnees, no confirmed launch logs or mission data, but also a story that refuses to die, right? So it's passed around forums, whispered in conferences, and occasionally championed by some other very vocal insiders. Was Project Serpo real, or is it just one of the greatest UFO stories never told officially? Jason, before I let you go, what is your one takeaway from today's story or time with us?
Well, I had a great time. Thanks again for having me. Yeah, no, this story, I think it's a great story, but I do agree with you, Neil. I do think that there are aspects of truth in this story, and I think that, potentially could have been the purpose. Maybe there was a purpose to leak out a little bit of the truth, and then wrap it all in a bunch of
lies,
stuff,
right?
Nonsense, right. Just to most people, and perhaps that was, and when you tie it into Doty, that would make sense. So I do think that there's some truth in there, and it's an entertaining story for sure. So, and there were some details in there that I hadn't heard, and those were great. So
that's Andrew. You got to hand that to Andrew. Yeah, that's for sure. All right. Well, thank you. We're so glad to have you. Listeners, we want to hear what you guys think. So drop your comments, your theories, your wildest Serpo takes below. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button, share this episode with your favorite conspiracy debunker, and be sure to check out our upcoming news editions and specials like the Boogosphere Deep Dive, which is going to drop in a couple of weeks. And make sure to check out Jason on TikTok at Hallucination Hippies and his soon-to-be-released podcast on YouTube and other streaming channels, I believe. Go check it out, Hallucination Hippies. Jason, can't thank you enough for being here, dude. I am a big fan of yours, and
thank you guys.
I look forward to doing this again with you on another time. And don't hire Andrew to be your partner on here. That's right. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Mostly True Alien Stories. Until next time, be kind to the aliens when they get here. Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
UFO sightings. Many Americans have wondered about our